Hello everyone and welcome back to kind of a bonus video. In this video I just want to show off some capabilities of the new camera that I got, which is the Logitech Brio or however you pronounce it. And in this video I'm just planning to take a look at some PCBs and do some nice close-ups, because that's what this camera is kind of good at. And also, well, it's still a bit of noisy in the darker areas. But not as bad as the old smartphone camera that I was using, in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at some nice PCB component close-ups. So the first thing we have here is a GTX 780 reference card. This is the really bad one that didn't overclock at all, basically. This didn't do 1200 megahertz. And the card also died twice. I heat gunned it, it works again now, but I kind of have a feeling that it's gonna die again, like very quickly, which is why it's on my wall and not actively in use, because this card sucks and I don't really have a use for it if it's alive anyway. But yeah, so one thing you're gonna notice is that this camera is not that great at zooming, like focusing itself. As you can see, it's very, well, not sharp. So we're gonna have to turn off the autofocus and actually, where is the zoom right now? Shall I like, what the hell? Okay, I'm just gonna have to figure out how. There we go. There we are. That's nice and sharp. So sadly the shadow from the camera is kind of like, well, because the light's like there. Here we have the TDA 21220, the 50 amp DR MOSFETs that power the core on this GTX 780. Here we have some output filtering, the Hynix AFR 2 Gigabit memory modules. Also, I forgot to mention, if you're wondering if the audio sounds a bit different, I'm using the onboard audio of the camera right now, which is probably a bit worse than what I usually have. So, well, if it's not that much worse, I will just keep using this, but well, the microphone from the camera is facing where the camera is facing, which is down on the desk and not into my direction. Here's the NCP4206. That's the vCore voltage controller. Here's the INA3201, that's the power monitoring chip. VMEM controllers right here. VMEM VRAM right here. And here we have the core, the big Kepler. It looks quite nice. It's a bit dirty. Look, can I like polish it a bit? Maybe it's just dust. Nah, doesn't really help. Also, you can see the camera here in the reflection. Yeah, so that's the core that we have. And yeah, NVIDIA, it's a 780. Should be saying it on the back right here. Yep, GTX 780. What serial number is this? Does it have a serial number? It might just be one of the numbers on this sticker. Doesn't say SN anywhere though. Huh. I was hoping to like get a nice serial number sticker. Ever since I got GTX 280 number 420, I'm kind of looking out for funny serial numbers to get on things. Here's another big Kepler, but this is a 780 Ti. It's a Windforce from Gigabyte. So you can see here, this is a 425B1, not a 300B1. So this is fully enabled. Also, this one's a bit more dirty. It's got thermal paste on it. Also a few more scratches. This one has a dead memory module, as you can see. And yeah, it being a Gigabyte card, obviously, like the WindForce card, it has a custom VRM. It has some slightly nicer capacitors and more of them. It has 8 phases V-core instead of 6, but sadly it's using 40 amp power stages, not 50, not even power stages, these are DR MOSes. So 40 amp DR MOSes, these are made by Renesas. Sadly you can't really see the part number on them. You can kinda see it. I can't see it enough to read it to you though. You'd have to like stop the video and move in. But yeah, I have a PCB overview of the of this card where I say the complete part number of this. Then we have a memory VRM that's fairly similar to the one we just saw. An NCP4208, since this is 8 phases instead of 6, and another INA3221 for power monitoring. And yeah. And then here we see what it is. This is even the GHz edition, so this is supposed to have like a good core, which it kind of does. My normal WindForce is actually better, but that card is just really good. But this core isn't bad either. It did almost 1300 at like 1.175 volts. That's pretty decent. So yeah, this card, if I replace that memory module, should just work again. And then I have a 780 Ti. I could probably e-power this or something. Here's another 28nm card with a dead memory module. This is a 770. So this is a small Kepler, a GK104. Also 425, but A2 instead of B1. So this is a Palit or gain ward. They both use the same PCBs. I think this used to be a Palit one. It has the 8-phase PCB, which I have another one of. But this isn't a Jetstream, this is like a downcasted one. As you can see, it has only 6 of the 8 phases populated, and on the back actually we also see again an NCP4206. So this is a 6-phase, not an 8. And then again here we have an INA3221, and then the memory controllers right here. So we have a pretty standard memory VRAM that's probably just copy-pasted off the reference design. Also those 3 empty spots. And then the vCore VRAM, well, we get a nice 6-phase with FDMF 6823Cs. Those are 50 amp DR MOSes, and yes, so this 770 has the same amount of power in its vCore VRAM as the reference 780, but with this core. So this is, even with the 2 phases missing, this is a really nice VRM. This is pretty nice. That's going to be efficient, it's going to overclock fairly nicely. Just sadly also dead memory module. But this one even has a Samsung D-Die, which you can kind of see. Is there a module that... You can kind of see it. The letter before the dash, the D, that's revision. So it's 2 gigabit D-Die on this card. And well, Samsung memory on in this generation, and also most other generations, just really, really good. And then we have an AMD card for a change. This is an HD 6970. This was sent in by Salty a while back. So you can see, this is back when AMD actually put laser engraving on their dies. 1133, is that a serial number? I actually have a 7770 that says 1337 here. Sadly that card is dead, and the core is no longer attached to the card. But I still have the GPU somewhere. Maybe I even have it on the shelf. Let me look. No, it's not the one. I have 2 desoldered 7770 dies, and the one that I have on my shelf is number 12222. So yeah, but here we have the GPU, and then we have Hynix MFR. These should also be 2 GB. This has 2 GB of VRAM, right? And it has 8 modules, so the 2 GB. But this is MFR, which sadly is worse than AFR. And even AFR is not that great compared to the Samsung modules. Here we have the VDDCI VRAM, which is actually using a Volterra Smart Slave, I believe it's called, which is a bare silicon sort of power stage. I don't think it officially is a power stage, but yeah, these look really nice. You also get these on GTX 280 reference cards. I really like the look of those. Sadly, these are not used very often because they are very, very weird and proprietary in how they work. They don't work at all like other power delivery components work. So you'll see them pretty rarely, mostly on older cards like this. And then we of course have the giant V-Core VRAM, which we're gonna get close to, with our IR direct FETs. What model actually is this? Are these like... I can't actually read it very nicely. It's like... I have to look at the preview that I have. 6725 low side, and then the high side, is that a 6721? Can't see. Well, the low side's 6725s. You can see it pretty easily, but the high sides I'm not entirely sure. I think these are 6721s because that's what MSI used on all the other Lightning cards. So yeah, I forgot to mention this is also Lightning. But yeah, that's the V-Core VRAM. Memory gets not just 3 phases, but also the same MOSFETs. The output filter, of course, is Lightning-esque insane. And you can see there's a lot of manual soldering that went into this. But this card is not stock by any means. Here's the V-Core controller, let's get that the right way around. Oops. Let's get the light right. A UP1981A. This should be our memory controller. That's also UPI. Actually, what's that first letter? UP, is that a 6? 6207A? Not entirely sure. But yeah. Backside, of course, has even more capacitors on it. And also these prod-lizer capacitors. Then we have all the capacitors on the back of the memory. And then, of course, the back of the core, which also has been modified quite extensively, as you can see, with more multi-layer ceramics. We have the sticker. What serial number is this one? 602. This is number 602. That's quite low, but on a special funny number. So, yeah. Here we have a close of PCI Express slot. What else do we have? We have the BIOS switch, which has, I guess, silence, performance, and then... Is this a triple switch? It has 4 conductors. And as one of them is just ground for the casing. No, this has 3 spots. So I don't really know what the middle one does. Then we also have things like this. Some switches that you can turn that have been turned, as you can see. Some of these, yeah, MEM V switch, GPU V switch, these just increase your voltage. OCP unlock. PWM clock tuner, I believe, increases the switching frequency of the VRM. Then we have all the phase indicators from our 14 V-Core phases, which is quite nice to see. More output filtering for the memory. These are our doublers, because the controller should be only a 7 phase. It's getting doubled into 14. So let's turn the autofocus back on. So here you have the 6970 Lightning. I haven't really run this yet because I don't have a VRM heatsink. I might run this soon though, also under phase change. I'm gonna do pre-testing of course, but I don't think that will be as interesting. And I'm probably just gonna run the VRM naked for phase change because it's a 14 phase. It will be fine. It will probably just be fine. I've seen people run similar VRMs completely naked, not with phase change, but just ambient cooling. So when I run at phase change, there will be more just extra cold just in the PCB that will absorb the heat from the VRM. So this will be fine. This will very, very possibly, probably, surely be fine. So gonna run this too at some point. There's kind of a lot of things coming up. Yeah, there's just like a bunch of there's some things happening in my private life that prevent me from just doing a lot of things right now. So I can't say when I'm gonna run this, but I have recently decided that I want to run this rather soon. But it's not the highest priority yet. At the moment, the highest priority to run is just anything NVIDIA 28 nanometer, or maybe also Fermi. Because the 970, apart from the thing where it runs PCI, two PCIe lanes all the time, has been very fun to use, and I want to run more NVIDIA 28 nanometer because I haven't encountered any cold boot bugs yet, which I have on all the AMD cards that I tested, which is very annoying. So I've been thinking of running like 780s, 780 Ti's, 680s. Like I have a couple. I have a 680 classified. I have a 780 Ti matrix. Could just show those off too. I mean, that's the entire point of the video, just showing things off to the camera. So yeah, it's a 680 classified. It is the hydrocopper version, which means that this one would probably also run with its VRM naked, but it has basically an identical 14 phase to the one we just took a look at. And also it's a 680, this probably pulls even less power. And you can also see how this took a beating in shipping. It's not in the best state, but it works. Like the card is fine electrically. Just it kind of took a bit of damage when it was shipped. Yeah, and I also pre-tested this card already. It overclocks really well. Also has Samsung memory. So this will be a nice card. Actually, it's so nice that I kind of don't want to run it because I'm afraid I'm going to break it. Because I also have another 680 that has a core that's even slightly better, but has worse memory and also less. This is a 4 gig card, the other 680 is a 2 gig card. And the other 680 is a reference PCB. So, yeah, but I eventually do want to run this because it's a very nice card. And, well, I haven't broken any card with Sub-Zero yet, not even the ones that I didn't bother insulating. So, this one will probably survive, I'm just a bit too scared. Yeah, then same for the... Here's the 780 Ti Matrix, which honestly, I believe this is... I'm not really a fan of the color red, but damn did they pull off a great job here. It looks a lot better in real life than it does on the preview right now, because the red is like, it's not a... And how to describe it, it's like a really nice reflective red color. I really like the looks of this heatsink. I think this is the best looking card that I own. Also the black thinned heatsink, and just the overall like somewhat simplistic but still not just completely a Minecraft block aesthetic of the heatsink. The kinda tacky ROG logo right here that does change its color depending on load. Oh man, this thing took a lot of dust. Oh yeah, and you can also see, I did mod this already. So I enabled the LN2 mode, I enabled the memory heater, however you still need to flip a switch for that. There is a potentiometer here for overvolting. However, I believe it's not completely connected right now. I think I cut the ground portion of it actually. Which is for overvolting because I tried GPU tweak. It tried to apply 1.8 volts Vcore at ambient temperatures and never again. So that's why I'm doing it with a potentiometer, which is fine. The card has these things that the camera doesn't want to focus in on. Do I have to do this again? I think I have to like drag the slider once for the focus to no? There we go. So it has these voltage read points and then override points for GPU memory and even PLL or PEX or whatever you call it. So I just use that instead. And yeah, I was also thinking about running this one more. It has a very nice VRM. It actually has a VRM heatsink you can keep when extreme overclocking, which, I mean, duh, it's a card meant for extreme overclocking. Then again, the Lightning also is, but I don't have the VRM heatsink for that because the card was shipped from Canada to here. So saving on weight was a kind of a bigger priority than having the absolute most best VRM thermals on a VRM that's not going to overheat anyway. So yeah, here we have the 780 Ti matrix, which hopefully will also see some action soon. However, it's also in the territory where I'm like, I kind of like this one too much to really run it, because I might break it, even though I probably won't. So let's get this one back onto the shelf too. And now I'm just going to show off some cards that I like visually. Here's the GTX 580 Lightning Extreme. This one still doesn't work. I did like 2 videos trying to repair it. It had a lot of PCB level damage. It's still, well, I haven't worked on it for quite some time. There's still some components missing. Around here on the PCI Express slot, there's like, I don't know exactly where, but there's like components missing here. Around here, I think I soldered something wrong. And the camera doesn't want to focus again. Well, it doesn't really matter either. I make dedicated videos about this, but yeah. And then also, like, I put some capacitors on here which are the wrong size, and those phases probably don't actually work properly. Here's my weird BIOS switch that I soldered on. Yeah, the card is not in a good state. This switch is missing, and all that kind of stuff. And then there's like gashes in the PCB somewhere, which might have cut some internal traces. The card is not in a very good state. It's not functional right now. It might never be functional, but it is an Extreme, and I just kind of like the looks of it. You can also see from the heatsink this one took a beating. But it is a Lightning Extreme. I got it for 15 euros, and for display piece this is perfectly fine. So I have it as a display piece. And now for the last card that I can easily grab and show off. Another Lightning, my 7970 Lightning, which I am also quite fond of. Sadly, this card will probably never see a lot of action. I also got this for super cheap, probably also 15 euros, because the card was dead. It is not really dead anymore. It's sort of in a... Whoa, this is also number 602. Yeah, autofocus is not doing it again. Yeah, I really need to like drag the focus slider once to accept the new focus. Yeah, so you see here, serial number 602, 7970 Lightning. And then 6970 Lightning, also number 602. Interesting, these two cards are brothers. I didn't know that. That's kinda cool, that of all the cards that I could have received, these two have the same series. And it's like the 670 is from Canada, this one's from a random dude in Germany. So these cards traveled quite some distance to meet up again. But yeah, so this 7970 Lightning, it probably has a faulty memory module in it. It was artifacting when I got it. I heat gunned the card, and then it worked again. I ran it for a very little bit and then put it up as a display piece because, well, heat gunned cards will die again. It's not an if, it's a when. Heat gunning cards is not repairing them, it's a temporary fix. And since this is a 7970 Lightning, which has a really nice PCB, and maybe I just wanna like put it in my test bench one day to just experience it once more, I would rather have it working rather than just using up all its remaining life instantly for getting scores. I have other 7970s like my Matrix, which works perfectly fine. So this one also exists as kind of a showpiece. It doesn't really, like, it's a bit dusty. All my stuff is getting a bit dusty. I should really clean my GPU shelf. But otherwise, this is in really good condition. Like, it has the stickers are all fine. The backplate isn't scratched. It even has the GPU reactor, which I could show that off. Like, it doesn't just have the GPU reactor cover, it has the actual thing. So you're supposed to... Oh no, you can open it that way, yeah. So it has the actual thing under it, the actual GPU reactor. So yeah, it's a card that I'm also quite fond of, just because it's in a really good preserved state. Just a bit dusty, but yeah. Also the golden inductors. You can kind of see them here. It has golden inductors. I really like that. So yeah, another card that I really like, which is also on my display shelf. Let's put that back. And just put the 780 back here. I actually like the look of this. I actually quite like the look of this 780. The VRM is anemic as hell and bad, but I actually think that this is a visually pleasing PCB. I'm just throwing that out there. Probably everyone would disagree with me, but I actually kind of like how this looks. Probably because like the other reference PCBs, like the 10 series ones, just have a whole lot of unpopulated pads on them, and this doesn't. But yeah. Anyway, the video is long enough now. What, 28 minutes? Really? Damn. Yeah, this really is long enough. So, yeah, this is just a bonus video, and it's like a full length now. Anyway, yeah, this is the bonus video. This is the new camera. It's really nice for making close-up shots when you can deal with the focusing, because the autofocus is not good enough. You have to manually focus things, but when you do, it makes really nice close-up shots of things. And also the light performance seems better. Well, it is a difference you can see. It's not the best thing ever, but it's better than before. So yeah, thank you for watching this bonus video. I guess you just really like looking at hardware just like me. So until next time, goodbye.